Chapter 10. The Storehouse of Eternal Knowledge. The mind of man is a greater power than any machine or instrument conceived by man, for it was the mind of man that conceived the machine or instrument, then brought it forth. When idle thoughts are conquered, or at least all discordant evil thoughts, when we can turn our attention at will without wavering upon any subject and hold it there, we will be able to open a door in great storehouse of eternal truth. Every successful inventor, every scientist who has discovered new facts, every inspired religious leader, every musician who has brought to earth new melodies has tapped this limitless source of eternal knowledge. One man with a vague, intangible idea in his mind holds to it until it becomes a burning desire that is released into his emotions and is there conceived. If he permits no doubts to destroy it, it will presently come forth into manifest form, for his life will be concentrated to bring forth his conception from the spiritual realm into tangible reality. After it has been conceived, he may work for months, even years, to perfect it, and give it a material body to glorify its soul. As he continues with his work, his confidence increases, or at least his desire is intensified. His invention may not work at first, but he has that inward knowing that it should, then finally that feeling that it has to work. It becomes an obsession, pounding continually in his mind. What is lacking? Would this work? Would that work? How is it to be completed? How? Questions forever seeking answer. Questions knocking, demanding the complete fulfillment of the birth of the mental child within. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. The last little gadget of perfection is often so elusive, the final touch it gives life and breath to the mental child and stands upon its feet and makes it live. If the inventor grows discouraged and gives up, another man will have the honor of fathering his brainchild. But if he continues, no matter what the odds, he will receive the answer. It will come, perhaps at a time when he is least expecting it, but it always comes, and when it does, it is usually in a sudden flash of revelation. Through his great patience and great persistence, he has opened the storehouse of eternal knowledge to benefit a whole world. These brain children that have been born of great thinkers become the property of the human race. Every invention comes to the earth in this manner, every melody, every great truth, every bit of knowledge. No information has ever been revealed to man without the intense searching of someone who had a mind that could not be silenced. Each truth has been given through the mind of one man who was willing to spend days in seeking, years in reaching, and months in knocking. With hundreds of minds reaching through to get the keys of atomic power, all searching, all working, all reaching, the spiritual power of earth was placed in the hands of man more speedily by far than if only one man had been reaching. But when it came the final key of controlling it, it came through the mind of one man who was reaching harder and more earnestly than others. These men with restless minds, searching for knowledge, who have refused and are refusing to be content with the meager bit of revealed knowledge, are the great benefactors of the human race. And as a rule, they have been required to pay the price. First, they had to visualize the thing they desired. They had, by the effort of thinking, to create the desired. They had to rise above the stupid contentment of passivity to obtain a level of achievement beyond their predecessors. They had to be willing, to some extent, to give up the pleasures of the world, that they might benefit a world, for by separating themselves from the multitudes, they were able to pioneer into uncharted fields alone. The truth that the world does not seem to possess is the knowledge that every man has the power and the right to tap this great source of eternal information, these archives of eternity. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receive, and he that seeketh find, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. This bit of Scripture is not just words. It has been given more times than any other truth revealed to man. It contains more promises than books could possibly reveal. To be understood, it must be used. It is a promise without any ifs. It is a definite promise regardless of goodness, badness, race, color, or creed. It stands alone, with only the integrity of God backing it up. Within each man is stored the energy, if he will use it, to seek, to search, to desire, and to reach, until the very heavens open and bestow upon him his request, for the law of God as a true prayer has to be answered. If within the grain of sand, the drop of water, a few drab particles of earth, is stored atomic or spiritual energy, then know that within the soul of man is stored a spiritual power far transcending that of any inanimate, earthly substance. The mind has three realms, which in a way could be compared to the 3 degrees of glory. The lowest, celestial, is comparable to the dim light of the stars in glory. It is also the lowest realm of human thought. It is where the failures, the criminals, the outcasts and degenerates, and the filthy of heart and mind reside. Their thoughts cling to the grubby ashes of existence, while they abide in the slums, the prisons, and the dingy places of darkness. For in this kingdom there is not the slightest ray of hope, faith, or light, just accepted failure in all its ugliness. The next realm is the terrestrial, or the one comparable in brilliance to the moon. This is where the honest, the honorable, and those who have hope reside. This is the part of one's mind, also, where worldly achievements are accomplished. Men who are successful in business abide here. This is the realm of all the financial successes, all those who can capably handle worldly materials and affairs. Sometimes this realm is invaded by the greedy and the selfish, who are like gangsters, but these will eventually be evicted in shame and disgrace. For this kingdom belongs to those who can live the golden rule, who can do to others as they wish to be done by. The next realm is the celestial, comparable to the sun in its glory. It is the spiritual part of one's mind, situated in the very top. It can never be invaded by robbers, for thieves cannot break through or steal. It can only be reached by loving devotion to the Most High God. It belongs to those who truly love the Lord their God with all their hearts, with all their souls, and with all their mind and with all their strength. This love must be genuine, so spontaneous, so beautiful and understanding, that it links hands with eternal light, and all darkness flees from it. When we are dwelling on a lower level of our minds, we are receiving all the thoughts of that lower group. In fact, we are associating with them, abiding with them, conversing with them, being one with them. And as we receive their thoughts, we also broadcast them on to dull the minds and burden the hearts of all who are already of that failure plane. Hence the great judgment against our idle thoughts in the hour of low caliber. Lucifer is continually broadcasting into this realm, for it is his kingdom. The kingdom we abide in mentally is also influenced by the contributions of our thoughts, and the realm we habitually inhabit in life will be the one we will inherit in eternity. Which is another great reason for the necessity of thoughts belonging to the individual, instead of the individual being the slave of his thoughts. For that which is filthy shall be filthy still, and that which is righteous shall be righteous still, according to the book of Revelations. This is speaking of the hereafter, which means hereafter they are brought forth from their graves. The most perfect translation has this added: those who are happy shall be happy still, and those who are unhappy shall be unhappy still. Most people are subject to the blues occasionally, but those who take a slump into the lower regions, to wallow in depression, self-pity, self-justification, fear, or cling too long and too hard to sorrow, will often find the stairway back up to the higher regions greased and almost insurmountable. They may even have to pull up themselves out of their own bootstraps. If they should reside too long in the basement of the minds, they might even lose the knowledge of the higher realms. Here again is the necessity of understanding the higher laws and power of thinking. It might be well also to mention here that self-pity is one of the greatest dissipations of the human race, and one of the most detrimental. It seals the way of progress. Anyone indulging in self-pity has, at least momentarily, lost his place in the region of light. The positive promise is, he who is thankful in all things shall be made glorious, and the things of this earth shall be added unto him 100-fold, yea, more. Gratitude is a song of the soul that will fit any individual into joy and light, no matter what his condition is. Few people in this day and age ever enter the upper story of their beings and view the great spiritual realm of eternal power. It is the kingdom of high devotion, of high and deep humility, of eternal peace, of perfect poise, boundless love and majesty. To be able to abide in this realm permanently is the ultimate achievement of all success, all power, all joy, and all light. To the worldly wise it may seem, at a causal glance, most impractical. But since we have already shown the temporary existence of practical things, let's venture into this realm and view the eternal values from this higher vantage point. This is the realm where one locks fingers with the divine. It is the realm where all power and all knowledge is obtained. This is connected with the superconscious, which is the divine mind, where one thinks with true thinking, knows with real knowing, and gradually becomes immune from all the ills and distress of mortal living, where all doubts and fears are conquered, where light increases until one enters the great light of divine thinking, loves with a divine love of pure understanding, and receives the power to accomplish anything to which he sets his hand. As one learns to hold his place in the kingdom of perfect peace and majesty, he understands fully the Sermon on the Mount. He knows that by seeking first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, all other things will be added, as also expressed by Christ in these words, "Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you." His love becomes perfected, and thus he has fulfilled all the laws and receives all the blessing. His very ability to love brings the greatest happiness of all. Every man's happiness is measured by his capacity to love. The greater a man's love, the greater his happiness. A man who does not love, or has not developed the capacity to love, has no real happiness or capacity for happiness. If one loves God with all his mind, then every thought, every desire, every aim must be consecrated to God. It is necessary to make one's mind all prayer, every breath a melody of devotion, one's heart all love, and one's soul a glorified song of compassion, mercy, understanding, and humility. It is quite possible that, without thinking too clearly, there will be those who will say, "Why, to keep one's mind all prayer would be fanatical." But would it? Christ's mind was all prayer, love, and devotion. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do, for whatever things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. For the Father loveth the Son, and show him all things that he himself doeth, and he will show him greater works, that ye may marvel." John 5:19-20. "For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment, which I should say, and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak." From this Christ tells that the Father was even going to show him greater works. In that case, he would have to be ever alert and ready to receive. He also informs us that every thought he had and every word he spoke was given him from his Father. And yet there is no one, either friend or enemy of Christ, who would say that he was a fanatic. He was the one perfect man, living the one perfect life. And if we claim to be children of God, then of us it is required to live life even as Christ lived it. For what things soever he did, these also the Son will do likewise. I will tell you who the real fanatics are. They are they who adopt false principles and ideas as fact, and try to establish a superstructure upon a false foundation. They are the fanatics, and however ardent and zealous they may be, they may reason or argue or false promise till doomsday, and the result will be false. This is the best definition of fanaticism that it is possible to obtain. A fanatic is also one who glories in his own special passport into heaven and gloats over the fact that all others are to be excluded. Fanatics may also be detected by their spirit and methods. Any breath of intolerance is the vibrating thought of the fanatic. They either endeavor to force their ideas upon others, regardless of the free will of man, or condemn them into eternal damnation. Fanaticism is always cruel, bigoted, and condemning, without the vestment of compassionate love to cloak its harness. As one learns to love truth and light and goodness and glory in God, this love begins to reach out to the race of men with a desire to serve, to bless, and to help. He has compassion for the weak and erring sons of men, and not condemnation. He wishes, through the great love of devotion in his heart, to lift them to a higher level of progress and existence, even at the sacrifice of himself, if necessary. He learns also, the great teachers of truth have never taught, his mind and lips must loose the power to hurt and wound before his voice can be heard among the gods. When one has reached the stage where he can keep his mind a song of glory and devotion, and his heart all love, he has the privilege to ask anything and have it granted. By this time his thoughts are so purified, there are no selfish desires left, no selfish motives, no desire for self-aggrandizement, no hate, no discord, no darkness. His whole desire is to magnify God's name upon the earth and to help lift his sons and daughters out of the mud into the light. And he will hold towards all love that passes understanding. This is also the point one reaches when there shall be no darkness in him, and he shall be filled with light and comprehend all things. Thus the great eternal storehouse of knowledge opens its portals, and one may gather of all its truth and treasures. Not just a final gadget to some invention, not just a phrase of melody, and not just one scientific fact, but all truth. Of course, it would be impossible to use all truth at once, but whatever is necessary for his work in progress in lifting himself and the world to a higher level will be there for his constant satisfaction and glory. It is then that he can step out of the realm of the physical or revealed knowledge into, shall we say, a fourth dimension. That is mentally, and he can have whatsoever he asks. Pioneering is done as far as new lands on earth are concerned. There are no new seas to cross, no new continents to explore, no new hemispheres to conquer, but the spiritual pioneering is only starting. This book contains a record of realms beyond the comprehension of man. There are new fields, new unexplored possibilities for every earnest seeker after true freedom. None are exempt. One needs no emigration quota, no passport. He needs only a strong heart and a soul on which the finger of inspiration has lighted the power of vision. With this equipment, he can carve out his future into the realms of the spiritual powers of eternity, hitherto untouched by man, where every great effort is a joy and every achievement an endless glory.